Hey, listen! This is the enhanced version of the Jeff Rubin Show. If you're wondering what enhanced means, it means that through the magic of technology, this audio recording has pictures. Let me show you. When you hear this noise, take a look at your iPhone, iPad, iTouch, iTunes, or at YouTube, and where you would normally see album artwork or video, you will now see some kind of visual representation of what Jeff and his guests are talking about. Maybe it will jog your memory. I don't know, maybe it will show you something you've never seen before. Jeff put in these pictures for you, the listener, to more deeply appreciate the experience. And now, without further delay, let's start the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Jeff Rubin Show. Got a fun one today. I am here with Seidell and Emily of collegehumor.com. Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey Jeff.
And we are going, I think Seidell and I had this idea camping once that we should do an episode. We should do this is before the podcast. We were just like, we should host a radio show.
Right, that's how long ago it was. Let's host a radio show.
And it was called, Hey, know what's cool? And that's what we're going to do today. Everyone has prepared 5, hey, know what's cool facts, and we're going to spend 3 minutes on each. We're going to take turn reading and discussing our facts, and then at the end, maybe we can come to some sort of, just to give it some thrust, we could come to some sort of consensus on the coolest fact.
The coolest fact. That's
I
a
didn't
good
know
idea.
this was a competition.
No, it's not. It's a fun.
Yeah, let me find some
A+
new facts.
game. I know. Now that we're saying that, I'm gonna Google coolest fact on the internet.
I wonder what that would be. If you Google what's the coolest fact, I wonder what it is.
It is too late to find out now because we are about to get started. Does anyone want to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, let me get the stopwatch out.
Oh my god.
3 minutes per fact. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I am ready.
Just take it away.
We're gonna discuss the fact after, right?
Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to fill 3 minutes with your fact.
I think it's 3 minutes for fact and discussion.
All right. So most of mine are food or history related, and so here's one of both, I guess.
Ooh.
Corn,
Yeah.
the food or maize, cannot reproduce on its own. It's a genetically engineered plant. The first genetically engineered plant, Indians made it and they had to plant it. So if you just have a field of corn and you don't do anything, no more corn's going to grow. Humans have to plant it. I think that's cool.
That's a cool fact. That's a cool fact. So how did Indians do that? How do you get started?
So like corn, as we know it, the closest genetic relative is like this little plant that looks nothing like it. It's a grass, and the Indians just crossbred it, and eventually like got this. Were able to create different types that made corn. So it's like they totally invented corn. Corn like didn't happen. People
Not to mention they kind of invented genetically engineered.
Yeah.
vegetables.
I don't know if they like really. They probably didn't understand like what genes were and things like that, but they like knew like, oh, if we like crossbreed these things, it'll make a bigger ear. And that took place over like, thousands and thousands of years. Wow.
So that's why every year when we have a drought, there's like a huge corn scare.
I don't know if that's true, but
I don't either.
Is there such thing as a corn scare?
I mean, I think it's like
I'm
when
only half sure Streeter didn't make the fact up.
I kind of know, but like when you're younger and you have like, like an ear of corn and like you drop some kernels, you're like, I'm making corn, but
Right.
you weren't.
Well, I guess you would be at that point. But like if you just didn't pick the corn and like, I gotta peel it and there's all those little hairs and stuff.
Yeah, what's up with the hair?
That like, because there's all that stuff, like those kernels won't like take root and make new corn plants.
What is
without humans doing
up
it.
with that hair though?
I don't know what's up with that
Gets
hair.
in your teeth.
Corn's
Yeah.
a weird food.
It's corn pubes.
Corn is weird. We just accept it. It's like pineapple. We just eat it. We never look at it and be like, what is this?
It comes like in a little outfit. It has hair.
An outfit.
You undress it.
It's
You
like
peel it like a banana.
It's very seductive.
it's like the banana's vegetable cousin.
Yeah.
Then you lube it up. It's very hot.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you do.
It's so hot you can't even touch it.
Gets all melty. You get it all over your face and in your teeth.
I gotta say that's a pretty good fact. Still probably better than any of mine, and we still have 40 seconds left to discuss it, but I feel like we said anything we possibly could about it.
There's different kinds of corn. One of the most popular being another human invention, sweet corn, that just has a lot more sugar in it.
Kettle corn.
Kettle corn. I really have nothing else to say about corn, but
tins of popcorn.
That's pretty cool. Indians we're crossbreeding. They invented this food that's like the most important food in our country.
Good fact, good start. I guess we don't need to fill all 3 minutes for every fact.
No.
We don't have to like treat it like our responsibility. That was pretty close though. That was pretty good. We'll know it's a really good fact when we get to 3 minutes. We want to keep going.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. You want to go clockwise or counterclockwise?
We can go clockwise.
What is it? You see, no one will know because no one knows where we're sitting.
Yeah, that's true.
We can totally mess with them.
So
that's true. Let's go clockwise.
Nice.
Jeff, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to open up my facts, and here's one that I actually recently read and immediately forwarded to Streeter. So Streeter already knows this one. Emily, this is going to blow your mind.
I can't wait.
Also, I got to get the stopwatch open. Also, I think, like, you're going to really get a sense of who all of us are based on the facts that we have brought here, you know?
I know.
It's so funny, Jeff. You like delayed going to the facts so you can get this stopwatch open to like make sure it's being accurately timed.
I know. I was kind of thinking like master of the stopwatch is going to give his facts.
Better not break the rules.
So my fact is that recently Chuck E. Cheese has changed the voice of Chuck E. Cheese. They have canned the guy who used to do the voice. They have a new voice doing Chuck E. Cheese, and he is the lead singer of Bowling for Soup. Like early 2000s pop punky band, Bowling for Soup, new voice of Chuck E. Cheese.
That's a fact.
I don't know Bowling for Soup.
Oh, you
it
know
has
Bowling for Soup.
no effect on me.
She's a girl all the bad guys want. Come on.
It makes me want to know it.
You know, I was a huge Bowling for Soup fan. Amir Blumenfeld.
Oh, that makes a lot of
huge
sense.
Bowling for Soup fan.
Oh my god. I mean, you mean like the animatronic Chucky?
You know, I think in the commercials, I can't imagine they're going back and like reprogramming the animatronics.
Because I think the people who gave those voices are dead and gone.
No, it's one guy. I remember that. If I can jump in on your fact. There was like a guy who did Chuck E. Cheese's voice for like the past 30 years, and he found out that he had been replaced like in a news article about it. They didn't even call him first.
Pretty harsh.
Rashy.
Really harsh.
Two other facts that were in the article, sub-facts to the first cool fact, is that, first of all, Chuck E. Cheese was originally a rat, and they were like, oh, they don't want to associate...
Well, he's still a rat. He's a giant mouse.
But they decided, they were like, we shouldn't call him a rat because this is where we want people to eat pizza here. They don't want to associate like a restaurant with rats.
And drink pitchers of soda.
And two is that Chuck E. Cheese, the name is so you have to smile when you say it. Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, I get it.
That's some like
the only thing. Yeah, that's very manipulative. The only thing I associate with Chuck E. Cheese is my dad's car running out of batteries and us like waiting and like begging people to jump our car in the
Chuck E. Cheese.
Because that happened, and that's my strongest memory of that. Did they, when they gave him a new voice, did they give him a new look?
Yeah, he's a little more extreme. Like,
you know what's really funny though? I saw.
That's right.
He's a bad boy that the girls are gonna want.
Even. That's right. He is even more extreme than he used to be. They just
He's got like a motorcycle.
Well, what's really funny about the new Chuck E. Cheese is that he's like cool, but he's like cool in like a when Bowling for Soup were popular. Cool, like in the early 2000s way. So he like plays a guitar and wears like baggy jeans and stuff. It's like they're still like a little behind the curve.
So in like 10 years, he'll be wearing skinny jeans.
Yeah,
like,
they're always just 10 years back.
And like Kanye West watches.
Have you guys been to a Chuck E. Cheese? I feel like I may be the only person in this room that can say yes. Have you guys been to Chuck E. Cheese as an adult?
I don't
Not
think you're
legally.
allowed to go there without children.
Not true. Not true.
You can go there. You're just like, please, I just want to play some skee ball.
It's so bad. I mean, obviously it goes without saying the pizza's terrible, but here's the real bullshit. The video games are like, they're all bullshit. The video games are all bullshit.
Like Dave and Buster's. Their video
what
games
are you
are bullshit
expecting?
too.
It's all like winning. It's all about winning tickets. There's no like good video games. Timer up.
All right, okay, on to me. Okay.
And you know what I realized is that we forgot to start each of the previous two facts with, hey, know what's cool?
Oh yeah, that was the whole part of the radio show.
Okay. Well, first off, I want to do a preface before you start the stopwatch is that I have more than one fact about dinosaurs.
That's great.
So prepare your ears for that. Okay.
I'll start on the hey, know what's cool.
Okay, that's so. Hey, know what's cool?
Oh, we never figured out if we're supposed to be like, what?
Yeah.
What, Emily?
Yeah,
oh, that's good. We'll go,
me.
what, Emily?
Yeah, okay. Hey, know what's cool?
What, Emily?
You didn't do it, Jeff, but I'll proceed. Basically, there was this species of dinosaur called the Troodon. Have you guys heard about this?
I've not.
And he had the largest brain to body ratio. And scientists believe that, like, if the dinosaurs hadn't gone extinct, that he would have evolved to have like a human intelligence. And so they basically would have been like the equivalent of like humans to the mammal world. It would be like a reptilian humanoid.
What's his name?
The Troodon.
What did he look like? What was his like?
He looked like a tiny raptor. But if you go on and Google Troodon, Troodon, there's pictures of like basically like reptile humans.
See, that almost
weird.
That almost sounds like it sounds like dinosaur fan fiction more than a fact to me. It's like, oh, what if the dinosaurs didn't live? And then this one.
Well, they're like
really...
they're inferring a lot based on something. They're like, he had a big brain, so theoretically, what could happen? But that's still pretty cool.
It's still pretty cool. Yeah. Imagine a world where like we coexisted with reptile humans.
Isn't what we know about raptors, and by what we know about raptors, I mean the contents of Jurassic Park. All bullshit. Like, aren't raptors not really like what we think raptors are like?
Oh, they're way smaller than they were in Jurassic Park because we saw one at the Creation Museum.
Stuart and I have been to the Creation Museum,
and they have a raptor. You know, because they need to explain how dinosaurs were on the Ark.
That's where we get most of our science, by the way. Is the Creation Museum.
And they had a raptor, and it's like the size of a Labrador Retriever. Like not that big. Yeah.
Well, these Troodons are small. They're probably like that size, but they have big old brains.
Did they know how to use tools or anything? Like, were they?
I don't know if there's evidence of that. I mean, a lot of paleontology is just like, well, I kind of feel. I mean, I found this one.
It was found near a rock, so we're kind of assuming knew what to do with the rock.
It was found near the stone that sort of looked like a toothbrush. So hypothetically, they brushed their teeth.
Paleontology is probably the thing where it seems like there's the most guessing.
Yep.
You know, like so much of what we like think about ancient humans. By the way, I should mention, none of us have any idea what we're talking about this entire episode. So much of what we know about humans is based on like one skull fragment we found.
Yeah, or like half of a finger bone,
and like
stuff.
trying to infer things and trying to make the connections. We're probably so wrong about so much what we think. Probably more than any other science.
My other dinosaur fact will speak to that as well.
All right.
Spoiler.
I bet I know what it is.
Sneak peek.
Wow, that's
I
exciting.
know one dinosaur fact, and I think it's going to be yours.
Okay.
Well, we are just about out of time, so I think we're going back to Streeter.
All right, here we go. Hey, you know what's cool?
What, Streeter?
Once again, Jeff
did not do
following
it.
the rules.
I'm working on the stopwatch over here.
There was in colonial America, pre 13 colonies, just when people were showing up here, there was, for about 20 years, a new Sweden. And it was where Philadelphia and like Washington D.C. are, like down there.
Like New York, like a new Sweden.
So no, like Swedish colonists came, set up forts, and they were like, "This is a country called New Sweden. This is our colony, and we're like an outpost of Sweden."
Did Sweden do a lot of that? I never hear about Sweden.
Yeah, I never think of them as like an imperial.
Well, see, what happened is the Dutch up in New York were like, "No." And after 20 years, like, went down there and took it over. They like, kicked him out.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do we do with this information?
Yeah, I know.
I just think it's weird that there was like, there could have been like, you know how we think about the Dutch and the English and the Spanish as having been like the three groups who like
who
colonized here. There was like
colonized.
20 years. There was like a huge Swedish population.
And where did they go? They just went right back to Sweden?
I think they just like,
Or they
blended into like Philadelphia around that area.
Wow.
I guess you guys don't think that's as cool as I do.
I'm having a hard time developing an opinion.
I guess it's one of those things. It's like you never hear about it.
Yeah.
So like when I heard about it, I was like, "What? How did I not know this?"
I'm
That's
definitely
weird.
surprised.
I'm surprised. However, my emotional reaction to Sweden and the Swedish people is really neutral.
You have a Swiss reaction to the Swedish.
When was this?
Yeah, exactly.
This was in, I'm going to pretend like I'm not looking at my phone, from 1638 to 1655. New Sweden.
That doesn't really help me either.
Look it
Yeah,
up.
that doesn't either. New Sweden. I guess like what if they're still around, you know?
All right,
Being
hold
run
on.
by the
Well, I got another fact. I got another fact about colonial
Wow,
America.
how does it feel to have me and Jeff trying to
At one point, due to colonial royal charters, this territory of Connecticut owned the entire country. That's true.
Swedish is burning all this
Yeah.
straight up here.
Sorry,
This
that
is so
just like
embarrassing.
reeked of desperation, and all I could hear was your desperate tone and not the facts.
This is my minutes. Oh, God, there's like 45 seconds.
I think we gotta move on.
You know, if you can't
It's okay,
appreciate the history of this great nation, I don't know if I have any business being on, hey, you know what's cool?
Yeah,
That was very cool.
maybe.
Very cool facts.
Very
here.
cool
That was really
facts.
If you
interesting.
didn't like
You
that,
know
you're not
what?
going to like the rest of my history.
You know what?
facts.
Maybe it was cool, but it wasn't 3 minutes cool.
Not like that Chuck E. Cheese thing.
Yeah, Jeff, you
That really-
you really crushed my trivia with that one.
Just mention something that my dad's car stalled out in front of, and I'll have a lot to say.
Did you ever break down in Philadelphia?
Nope.
Nah.
All right.
Man, fuck you guys. All right, go on. Move along.
Round.
It's okay, we'll all have one, I'm sure.
Maybe. We'll see. Moving on, Emily.
No, it's your turn.
It's moving on to Jeff.
And you gotta say, hey, you know what's cool?
Okay.
But with a lot more animation than I just did.
All right. Hey guys. You know what's cool?
What, Jeff?
So
Protesting.
Wikipedia. This is a fact about Wikipedia. Wikipedia
Wow.
has this hierarchy of organization where they're, at the bottom of a Wikipedia page, things are in certain categories, and there's this tree that organizes all the categories. And at the top of the tree, there are 4 what Wikipedia calls fundamental categories. 4 things that all Wikipedia articles flow into. And those 4 concepts are, well, one of them is actually concepts. One of them is concepts,
Meta.
life, matter, and society. Those are the 4 things that all Wikipedia articles are organized into.
What?
What do you guys think?
Wasn't society really, like, just a concept
Yeah.
in and of itself?
Couldn't
Couldn't
all
you roll
those?
society under concept?
Yeah, couldn't all of them fall under concept?
It's a construction we've made.
I guess society is like culture. First of all, I don't know. Now we're into I'm guessing. I think society is like culture and things like that. The arts maybe, and concepts are more like theorems and like physics and math and that kind of
Okay.
thing.
And then what was it? Life?
Life and matter. Matter is such a great category.
Yeah.
Life is matter.
Yeah, matter is life.
Life is just animated matter.
But you can see the distinction they've
Idiot.
drawn there.
Yeah, duh. Life is animated matter. It's like the easiest thing. I would like read that on a popsicle stick.
I bet
You got those intellectual popsicles
Yeah.
as a kid.
I bet scientists like hate listening to this episode.
Are there scientists that listen to this podcast?
Maybe. I don't know that there are not
if there
scientists.
are scientists, please go cure cancer or do something else.
Yeah. But maybe they're listening to this while they're like working pipettes.
I also want to note that I forgot to start the stopwatch on this one. I was really concerned with what fact I
Oh,
was going
bought
to do
yourself
next.
a little extra
Classic.
I think I might be buying myself a
Rubin.
little less time. Is
Rubin
what I was
won
going
out.
for there.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Like, just
Yeah.
the idea of trying to organize Wikipedia is so overwhelming to me. Like, all those thousands of facts and articles, that you could get it down to 4 categories, I think is interesting.
I do kind of want to think of a category that like, oh, duh, you should have had this.
Just
Like
like,
one that is
dogs.
Unexplained mysteries.
Oh yeah. Maybe
What's
like
that going
or
there?
like unsubstantiated.
Yeah, bullshit.
I think,
Yeah.
I think you can do
Total
like,
crap.
I think when an article is like marked as like this article needs more facts or citations or whatever it is,
Those are the only ones I believe.
you can probably get just the ones that have that, because I think there are people who like make it a hobby of going through those and deleting them or adding the facts or just fixing it up.
Yeah. Or just believing them.
That's kind of like, you know how scientists, this is like why everyone like bugged out with the Higgs boson thing. It's like they've been looking for the grand unified theory of everything, like that it just explains everything. Seems like that's what Wikipedia is up to too. They're like trying to come
Yeah.
up with like the grand unified theory of information.
They
Like,
do.
everything falls into these.
And like
4
someday
places.
Wikipedia will be like, it will be like the starting place for like a robot's mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's
I
where.
feel like that's leading into your next fact. Based on
Maybe.
how much you've talked about
Maybe.
robots with me this week.
Now I'm gonna surprise you with not that one.
Well, we are maybe out of time. It's hard to say. Let's move on to Emily's next
Okay,
fact.
I'm gonna do something that's not that. This one I just really like. Okay, ancient Celts like.
Whoa.
Oh, hey, you know what's cool?
What, Emily?
You even said it wrong. He goes,
Said it.
what, Kemily?
I was laughing. I was laughing as I did it.
Jeff has yet to successfully commit to this structure. Okay, hey, you know what's cool?
What, Emily?
Ancient Celts used to like when they like defeated a foe, they would behead him because they thought that like the head was so powerful and everything, and they made a practice of embalming the heads of their most prestigious foes and keeping them in a chest so that when they had company, like when company came over, it was like a ritual to like open it up and show off these embalmed heads and brag about who they killed, and also to brag about how much money they turned down to buy the head.
That's cool. What I like about that fact is I see a direct line between that and like what the way we live today, because your house is still
Exactly.
full of trophies and
Yes.
things for people to come over and you can show them and you can brag about.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, like something like an Oscar is a modern day severed head. That's your victory over all of your prestigious foes, right?
Yeah. Do you guys have any like trophies in your home? None of us have kids or anything. Like if you have kids, you obviously have their trophies
Right.
and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys have any like awards or anything?
I just have like cool stuff I've stolen.
like, oh, I have some of that. What's your cool stuff?
I have a really cool picture of. I stole it from a bar. It was more so that it was really difficult to steal, so I was really proud of it, which kind of relates to that because it was a really prestigious steal. And it's a picture. It's a painting of Jesus playing hockey.
I stole and have on my wall a clock from Wendy's, and it's like a wooden clock with Wendy in the middle of it, and it's terrific. My friends and I, for like a time in high school, were just like into stealing dumb
Yep.
shit, just like
Yeah.
trays and like
Yeah.
baby seats. And
That
like,
was my dorm room. Was like, look at what I either stole or found on the side of the road.
Yeah,
it would be
yeah.
like, look at this giant martini glass,
Yeah.
or like, I actually stole. Oh, this is bad. But I studied religion in college, and we went to a Hindu temple at one point. There was a big sign that said, "Please break coconuts here," and so I stole that from a Hindu temple.
I kind of have a question about the Celt heads, about the vanquished warrior heads.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that because every Celt's home was like full of dead people's faces, that Celtic kids weren't afraid of that?
Oh, right.
Because
Like
it's just like part of their house.
No,
you know?
I bet it was something though, like that's daddy's, you know, like we aren't allowed to touch
Oh,
that.
yeah,
That's
like-
daddy's. Because
yeah,
like
you don't-
if kids got it, then they would like make the heads like kiss each other and get married, you know?
you probably have to treat the heads somehow. You don't just
Well,
like
they-
chop
they
it off
embalm
and throw it
them.
in the okay.
Yeah, they embalm them.
Good. I was
But then
worried.
throw them in a chest.
Do you have anything
Any
stolen in your
trophies?
apartment? Or trophies? Maybe didn't.
Here's, you want to
Yeah,
know a fact
maybe
about
you.
me? I've never won an award my entire life for
What?
anything, ever. Not once. I was like vice president of my class in high school, and I got voted class leader, but I didn't win the leadership award. And I was like, something's up.
But you
There are forces against me here.
What is? There's a class leader and a leadership award.
Yeah, it was like
Well, leadership
it was
of-
like my superlative in the
Yeah.
yearbook. But then like the actual award where you got money to go to college went to some girl who I beat to become like student council
Well,
person.
you want to know what? They didn't take into account charisma, popularity. It was all just GPA.
I guess I can't think of any awards I've won.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, my only thought was superlative. I mean, there's like scholarships.
We didn't even have superlatives.
We're all a bunch of losers up in this podcast
No,
right
I'm
now.
pretty sure I went. I mean, I've like, you know, I don't know, I've maybe
I definitely
never-
won like a taekwondo trophy
know.
or something once.
Yeah.
coolest dude. I mean, if we had an award, I would have been coolest dude.
Yeah.
Guys, I have another confession. I forgot to stopwatch again. I think we're past 3 minutes on this one.
Okay.
Good fact.
right.
Good fact.
Thank you.
Back to Streeter, beginning round 3.
Let's see if I can redeem myself here from that clunker. of a fact. This
Sweden, not as interesting as
Not-
the Celts.
just another foreign country that existed in America. Not very interesting, apparently. All right, here we go. Hey, guys. You know what's cool?
What's
What, Streeter?
He still can't do it.
What, Streeter?
Streeter?
Guys, I'm operating the recording equipment. I'm working on the stopwatch. There's a lot going on in my corner.
Cajuns. We all know Cajuns, right?
Uh-huh.
Down in Louisiana.
Yeah.
That was my impression.
Bon temps.
There you go. Someone watches True Blood.
Whoops.
Cajuns, and there's about 2 to 5 million, depending who you ask. They're an ethnic group, and they didn't arrive in Louisiana. They were kicked out of Canada in Acadia by the British, and they migrated down there in the 1750s.
I really like this fact. Why were they kicked out of Canada?
All right, so they were French, right? The French used to own Canada. England was down here, and England was like, we want Canada. So they went up and they took it. And these Acadians, they refused to take this oath of allegiance to England for like years, for like 20 years. They're like, we're not going to swear allegiance to England. So England was like, all right, well, then you can get the fuck out. And they were like, where should we go? And Louisiana was still like a French colony, and they all went there. So they're Acadians is the name of their group, and now they're Cajuns.
That's so badass. And they're like, no, we're not going to take an oth. Sorry. We'd rather move.
We'll move 3,000 miles rather than take some meaningless oath.
I like that. That's a principled people with a fantastic cuisine.
I feel like Jeff doesn't think that fact is very cool.
I'm lukewarm.
Yeah. Well, I love New Orleans, and I love
I've never
the food.
been.
If you go to New Orleans, then you'll just care about Cajun people.
I believe that.
They're really interesting. They're like this subset of people that like totally they have their own language, like their entire own culture, like separate from everyone else down there.
I wonder if I have some kind of relationship to the Acadians, because one of my heritage, what would you call that? One of my breeds, whatever, I don't care. Is
ethnicity?
Yeah, one of my ethnicities that I've been told is French Canadian, and I've never understood that.
Do you have family in Louisiana?
No.
Oh. Maybe your ancestors were like some of the like
oath.
pussies who were like, oh yeah, sure, we'll take the oath. Yeah, sign me up here. Where's that Bible at?
What? I swear to love and behold another country. Okay, sure, whatever,
Her
whatever.
Majesty, Queen of England. All right, I'm gonna go back to
Just let
fishing.
me, yeah.
the traitorous Axfords.
I am descended from weak blood.
I'm gonna win you over on this next one.
It's pretty good, and you know what?
I like that one.
We got to 3 minutes on it. That's a 3-minute fact.
Yeah.
I came out strong with the corn thing.
The corn one was good. I'm next, right?
Yeah.
You're next.
So this is it. I'm gonna break out the poop fact. I got a poop fact.
Oh, fun.
It's not really about poop.
Oh, I like it already.
Hey guys, know what's cool?
What, Jeff?
This
We
is-
should have messed it up. What, Jeff?
This is probably my favorite thing I know. I have a friend of mine who worked when he was a teenager at Sesame Place in eastern Pennsylvania. Sesame Place is like a theme park for very, very young children. I went there once. I have very vague memories of it. It's like, I mean, obviously Sesame Street. It's like for kids who would watch Sesame Street. And he was a lifeguard in the pool. And he told me that when a kid pooped in the pool, which you can imagine happens often at like a theme park for 3-year-olds, like you're going to have more poop in the pool than you would at your average theme park. When a kid pooped in the pool, the lifeguards would call it out on the radio as a code snuffy. It was code snuff.
Snuffy?
Yeah, because of snuffleupagus, you know,
Because you look like a giant walking turd.
So they couldn't say someone shit in the pool, so it was like, yeah, we got a code Snuffy over in the pool.
The kids were like, Snuffy?
So where? Everyone
Where
runs
is
in the
he?
pool.
I want to see him.
And I just think it's terrific because it's about poop, but it's also about Sesame
What about
Street.
if someone peed in the pool? Was it a code Big Bird?
Well, I think you don't pull kids out of it.
I went there.
If you're going to pull the kids out of the pool, every time one of them pees in it, like no one's ever going to get in the pool at Sesame Place.
No one knows when you're peeing in a pool. You know what? I've been pissing in pools my entire life, and I've
Yeah,
never
it's
gotten
true.
caught.
Pissing in pools, pissing
Do
in
you
the
guys pee
ocean.
in pools? I've never peed in
Definitely.
pools. I pee in the ocean. I'll pee in the ocean. But I
Pee
had
in the
a friend-
ocean is great. That feels like this is a natural state for a human being.
You're like back with, you're communing with like your ancient source creatures that crawled out of the ocean
Yeah.
onto land.
But I had a friend that would pee in. If we were in a
creatures.
lazy river, he's like, "Yeah, you could pee in the lazy river." I was like, "No, that's just a pool in a different shape."
You can pee in a pool. There's a filtration system. There's chlorine that's killing everything.
But do you remember that episode of, I want to say Pete and Pete, where the pee turned red because of the
ICUP,
chemicals?
The chemical.
Yeah.
That's not real.
It's not real,
I
right?
was so
I've-
old when I learned that was not real. I was
I
like
know.
in college.
I honestly don't think I've confirmed that wasn't real until this moment.
See, like I had a pool growing up, and I feel like if that chemical were real, my parents would have gotten it. And because they didn't get it, I was like, that's not a real thing.
It was never a problem for me. I'm honestly just not that interested in being in pools. Never really have been. But I did think that there was a real so it wasn't preventing me from doing it. But I really thought until I was like 20 or 21 that it was a real thing. When someone told me, it's probably like,
Yeah,
I mean,
think I've never confirmed
that's like a
it till
Santa
now.
Claus type thing. Like you should just figure out like when you're like old enough for it to not be a concern anymore. But I was like, it's so old for not knowing that wasn't real.
Do you guys pee in the shower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the difference?
Aim for the drain.
There's a drain in the shower.
There's a drain in the pool.
But like, there's a lot of water between me and the drain. Anyway, let's all go to Sesame Place and shit.
I mean,
and
shitting
then
in
you
the
listen
pool's
to
a
all
different
those
story.
lifeguards.
Shitting in
Doing
the
a
pool.
snuffleupagus in the pool.
This
That's a
is-
whole other story.
This is a question. I have never done this, but has anyone ever pooped in the ocean?
No.
I pooped in a lake one time as an emergency because I couldn't. Like when when you're trying to walk through water, you can't walk that fast.
yeah.
And you
Couldn't swim because if I started swimming, I was gonna spray shit all over the place. So I was like trying to run out of the lake, but there was too much water, so I just
my
couldn't.
God.
And I just like took a dump in the lake. I was probably like 8 or 9. It was pretty embarrassing.
Mediocre fact, but I got a story about Streeter shitting in the lake out of it.
Yup.
So
I think it was a camp in Rhode Island somewhere, Camp Burlingame. If
And
you're
that-
ever there,
that shit is still there in that lake. All right, Emily.
Okay, I'm gonna go to another Dino Fact, and that is that there's a lot of debate.
Whoa.
Oh, hey, you know what's cool?
What, Emily?
You finally
Feel
got
like
it.
you got
But
it.
I didn't have the stopwatch. I was like, I gotta concentrate on it this time.
So that
Now
people
I've
stop
started a
giving me
stopwatch.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay, there's been a lot of debate. Like, originally everyone thought that like T-Rexes were like this apex predator, but then all of a sudden it started to surface that maybe T-Rexes are scavengers, and now the accepted belief is that T-Rexes, rather than being these fearsome apex predators, were actually scavengers.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
Yeah, T-Rex is like synonymous with apex predator.
I
you
know. I mean, I guess it's not. I guess it doesn't fit into hey, what's cool. But it's just really, it's so weird. It's like almost like finding out like your dad is fallible or something like that.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
a tough day.
Yeah.
I love finding out things that we're wrong about or we don't know.
Yeah.
Because it feels like as a society, like it can often feel like, we got everything on lock and we've conquered most of the universe, but we haven't at all. And like whenever there's some fundamental understanding that kids are taught and that we just know, and then we learn that's wrong, I find that exciting because it makes me think about like all the
Yes.
other stuff that's like left to learn that it's wrong.
That's what-
How there
why I kinda
wasn't
like it.
a Swedish colony in America. Like
Not really, because they don't have an emotional reaction to that. Whereas they do have an emotional reaction to T-Rexes being scavengers.
it kind of makes sense because like when you think about the biggest animals we have, like the biggest, scariest apex predators, a lot of them are scavengers. Like, they'll just go
that's
around. Like, look
true.
at bears. They just like bears will hunt, but more often than not, they'll just like go try to eat your food from your
I
garbage
mean,
can.
look at Winnie the Pooh, Yogi Bear. These are some
these aren't
Yeah,
fake.
these are
These
docile.
are actually fake animals.
These
You're
are-
naming.
I mean,
But they're based on
Paddington Bear.
They're based on real bears.
all of the Care Bears.
like hyenas will do that. A lot of like terrifying
Yeah.
animals will just like the only reason they're big is so they can go like scare other animals away from the kill and just steal it.
But on the
Oh,
other side, it
that's kinda
makes
true.
it makes so much sense. Like in the 1800s or whenever, I think it was in the 1800s where they first found dinosaurs, or they started like digging up bones and putting this together.
I think it was like in the early 1800s when they were like, hey, these might be something.
Yeah.
Really?
And like, just the
Yeah.
first time you dig up a T-Rex skeleton and put it together, you're like, this
Yeah.
fucking thing must have eaten everyone. Like, look
Yeah.
at that thing.
I still like don't believe that it wouldn't kill things though.
I mean,
Why would it be so,
why would it be so big?
I'm having a real problem with this fact.
I know, but I mean, that's what science right now is really favoring that opinion.
All right, I'll prove it wrong.
Okay.
If it were a scavenger, it would need bigger hands to pick up food.
I know, I've thought that, but if you see, because it was a tripod, and so it just could easily like put its little head down. So actually, the fact that he had such stumpy, pathetic little arms almost like sort of encourages like that he was a scavenger because he couldn't punch
No.
anyone with those.
Did you hear about how there's
Just-
that theory about how dinosaurs all had like feathers?
Yeah, that they were birds. I have a whole
Like-
picture book about it.
That really changes the game.
Did you color in all the pictures yet?
No, only with tears.
Yeah. I wonder if
How
like,
Imagine
can they
Jurassic
be
Park
birds?
if they all just were covered
yeah,
in feathers.
Jurassic
Yeah.
Park is gonna look like the net in like 10
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
all of these things. The
When we
raptors-
learn so much more, and we
Yeah.
find out that like raptors were actually walked on all fours, and
All right, I think that is time on Emily's second dinosaur fact.
really,
Moving over back to Streeter
Oh my god.
for the start of round 4.
Hey guys,
hey, whoa.
you know what's cool?
What
Streeter?
How does I feel on that one?
All right. Hey guys, you know what's cool?
What Streeter?
You just mouth along with us.
Did I?
Yes, you
Oh my
did.
god. So when you think of like quintessential Italian food, what do you think of?
Oh, cheese,
Pizza,
What's in
pasta,
pizza? What's in pizza?
tomatoes,
tomatoes,
cheese,
mozzarella.
donuts. I almost said donuts.
Donuts? I
No,
don't know what
they're
kind of
not
awesome pizza
at
you're
all.
eating.
Dough, though. Dough.
So what's a pretty
Dough.
popular thing you want to put on top of pasta?
Pasta sauce.
What's made
Tomato
of how do
sauce.
you make tomato
Tomato
sauce,
sauce,
right?
right.
Check this out. Italians didn't have tomatoes until the 1500s because they are native to South America.
That's pretty cool.
Oh,
So
Right.
pre
So what were they
1500s,
putting on it?
no tomato sauce, no pizza with tomato sauce, no marinara, none of that stuff.
If you go to a place that serves Neapolitan,
Whoa.
which is like kind of classic pizza in that old style, like their basic pizza is dough and sea salt and olive oil.
yeah.
And it's more of like an
Whoa.
appetizer than, obviously what we think of as pizza. That is kind of crazy. I think kind
You
of
can't
It
I
makes
can't
me,
in my
like-
head like divorce Italian food from tomato sauce. I'm like
I can't,
I guess
yeah.
they just didn't eat before tomatoes got there. I don't know what
They
would
just
have
ate
eaten.
like they just didn't have as nearly as good of food.
Isn't what we
Yeah, I guess
consider
not.
Italian food kind of like what was we as Americans, like what we think of as Italian food isn't really Italian food in the same way like what we think of Chinese food isn't really Chinese food?
Well, it's like regional.
No,
like it
I've
is
been to
anywhere
Italy.
else.
You've been
Yeah.
to Italy.
I have. I was there very recently.
But like
Yeah.
northern Italian foods like pesto and like that kind of thing. Like southern Italian's all like what we think of, I think, as like classic Italian food.
Yeah.
Like heaping bowls of tomato sauce pasta and stuff.
I'm talking
Mm.
Olive Garden style.
Olive Garden. Well, I mean, you want to know what the big difference is? Their olive oil in Italy is so much better because, like, our olive oil here is like it's such a small percentage that has to actually be olive oil that we're basically
Really?
yeah. Our olive oil.
What?
If you look into it, it's like kind of heartbreaking.
You should have just saved this for your last fact. That
I know. Well, I'm not. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Like the percentage that is required to actually be olive oil is so small. Whereas like when you go to Italy, it's legit good olive oil, and so that's why their food is just so much better.
There's some really high-end olive oil. There's this high-end beer store, like a kind of a fancy, microbrewery store that's right by Streeter and between me and Streeter
Oh,
in Brooklyn.
yeah.
And they have
don't tell people where we live.
Well, they have olive oil, and it's like locked behind the counter. They have like $100 bottles of
Yes.
olive oil.
That's
so
what-
pretentious.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to start investing
Did I have
in
to
that though.
specify that was in Brooklyn? Like, it's the
I
most
know.
Brooklyn sounding thing in the
It
world.
really is.
But there's a very high end on how good olive oil can get.
Do you guys want to hear 2 more tomato facts real quick?
Okay.
If I still have time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fire 'em off.
Tomato is part of the nightshade family and is actually poisonous.
Really?
And ketchup didn't have tomatoes until pretty late in the game.
Yeah, I
It
knew
was like
that
made.
one.
It was like an Asian fish sauce.
Yeah.
And like slowly but surely, tomato just started to like make up more and more of it.
Wait, so it was the 15th century that tomatoes came to Italy, though?
The earliest they could have gotten there would be 1493.
Okay,
that was
because
when
it was because of
Columbus
Columbus.
came
That's
back.
why I wanted to ask.
So that was the
Columbus,
absolute
Christopher
earliest.
Columbus was the dude who introduced the tomato.
No one
to...
knows who took him back, but like they say the
It was
absolute
his crew,
earliest
though.
it could have been was 1493.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Can you imagine? I mean, I think that's cool.
That is
Yeah,
cool.
I like that
Italian
one.
food's like my favorite food. Pizza's my
I
favorite
knew
food.
I'd get you with that.
You can make me care about history if you tie it into pizza.
I knew that's exactly what I was thinking. I was just looking through my facts. And I was like, what will Jeff like? Oh, here's a pizza related one.
Okay, so I'm up again.
Uh-huh.
Let me hold on. Let me lock and load this fact. Okay, this is one I just learned this morning, and let me pop open the stopwatch. Hey guys, know what's cool?
What, Jeff?
I was reading the New Yorker profile on Springsteen, which is very long. There's a New Yorker profile on Springsteen as an older fellow. And one thing that it mentioned that I thought was really interesting was that he has this elaborate system. So, because Springsteen has obviously a very deep catalog from his decades as a musician, and
Deep cuts.
and the set and like changes what he plays every night, might decide off the cuff. So there's this system set up so that they can feed him, they can pull any of these songs and put the lyrics up on a teleprompter for him and the rest of the band. And he's not the only person that does that. Sinatra did it, and the Rolling Stones do it.
I always wondered how like these dudes remembered the words to their songs.
Isn't that crazy to like write so many songs that you just don't even know the words to all of them? But what I thought was interesting, and I'm not a musician, you guys both play instruments, so maybe you can speak to this, is that they don't remember the words, but they know all the music?
Yes, I was actually just gonna say that, like for some reason, like I think the muscle memory kicks in.
Yeah.
You can always remember how to play a song, but lyrics are hard to remember.
But also with playing, like 9 times out of 10, it's like a progression that repeats itself. You know, there's like phrases that repeat itself. So it's like if you remember these 5 chords, you know it does that 4 times, and then it's these 3 4 times, and then it's back. Like that's how I would remember it in my head.
But I think it speaks to also the quality of Springsteen and Mick Jagger and Sinatra, I guess, I just don't know as well, as performers, because you never think that. Like, they sing it like they know it.
Yeah,
I think Michael Stipe, remember Michael Stipe would have a music stand with all his lyrics on it?
Really?
He couldn't afford the teleprompter. He would just have a music stand so he could remember.
I mean, honestly, it probably makes them better performers because they never have to worry about knowing lyrics.
Yeah, interesting.
Because sometimes, like, think about, like, when you're, like, trying to memorize a script and then, like, when you're, like, getting pretty good at knowing it, but you're still using the script, like, you're just killing it. You're nailing it. But then once someone takes the script away and you're thinking about, fuck, what's my line? Then, you know, there goes the heart, there goes the
There
performance.
goes that confidence. You know, that's why I always thought it was funny if you ever went. I was a big Dave Matthews fan.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
I've seen DMB a handful of times.
And he would just
Never
like
seen him.
he just make up.
That's surprising.
You should really go see them. They're
No, I was a
fantastic.
fish fan.
Dave Matthews Band's like...
Dave Matthews is never going to
it's
do
like
anything with
the
they did.
gateway band to getting into Fish.
Yeah, and
The
I was already
marijuana
there.
jam bands.
Yeah, you don't like get into like marijuana from doing heroin.
But he would just like, I remember I would like try to sing along at shows, but he would just
He just
change the
mumble?
words all the time. He would mumble through parts and then
Yeah.
just like sing completely different lyrics.
I would think Tom York can get away with the same thing too.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
if you forget the lyrics, just sort of like whine a little bit.
If I was a singer and I was like on that level and I forgot words, I would just point the mic at the crowd and be like,
that's
it's time for
good.
us all to sing now. And then I'd
Yeah.
probably remember what the words were.
Yeah, that is a good call.
It's a good trick.
That is time. I think we can all
Okay.
agree that was a terrific fact.
Great fact.
Great fact.
That was
Yeah.
Just learned that this morning.
Shoot, that's me. It's
So
me.
now we're moving back to Emily, and then
Good.
it's time for
And then it's time
everyone's
for final facts.
fact.
Oh wow, what do I say for my last fact? Okay, I'll say my favorite fact, but it's probably not going to win it for me. Okay, the last 2 speakers of this dying Mexican language, Ayapaneco.
You looked at us like we know if that's correct.
Yeah.
Are we into
I
the
Oh,
fact?
don't know if that's correct.
Have we started the fact yet?
Oh,
Is this
yeah.
just small
Wait,
talk?
sorry. Hey, you know what's cool?
What, Emily?
Okay, the last 2 speakers of this dying Mexican language, Ayapaneco, will not speak to each other.
You have an Uncle John's big bathroom reader. You got that out of.
That's like a small poem you just wrote there.
I know. I don't remember where I read that, but it was something like.
Do you
it was
know
probably,
why?
No. Let me make it up.
Yeah, make up a good reason.
I don't know. They live near each other. But they won't speak to each other.
And what is it? It's a dying Mexican language?
Yeah, it's like some indigenous Mexican language, and it's going to die with them, and they won't even use it.
Dead languages are kind of interesting.
I love dead languages.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a really pretentious thing to say. I love dead languages.
She's reading a New Yorker right now. I mean, why would they profile Bruce Springsteen of all people? What's your
Seriously, dude,
guys,
David Byrne.
What's your favorite dead language?
My favorite dead language. I mean, I wish I could read like hieroglyphics.
Does that count as a language?
No, I guess it's written language.
It's a language.
How long do you think, how far into hieroglyphics do you think they got before they were like,
We're wasting a lot of time on one word.
Or they're just being like, fuck, there's so many concepts we have to illustrate with these little drawings.
Yeah.
This is going to take forever. I wish we thought of a different way to do this.
You're like, I'm trying to say love, but all of a sudden I've got a guy, a girl, a bunny,
There's an eye for
fish.
some eye and a pyramid.
Do you think they were like, all right, well, what is what? How do you say family? Maybe it's like a fish jumping out of the water, and someone else was like, no, that's already house. That's already house.
Yeah. It was so confusing. Thank God for those Indians with their alphabet.
Is it sad? Do you guys think it's sad when a language dies?
I do. I do think it's sad when a language dies because I think language is such a cool thing. I also think it's kind of sad because like language is sort of like changing all the time, and like you almost want to like way to like capture like a meaning of a word in a time, before it changes and becomes something else.
I heard a fact about language.
Okay.
It's not a dead language. It's the evolution of our language. Our boss Paul told me this. He said that certain kids are starting to use the word yo as a non-gender pronoun. I think I'm saying that correctly. So instead of being like, we need to hire someone for the job and we need he or she to do this, we would be like, I need to hire someone for the job. I need yo to do this.
Whoa.
Isn't that kind of cool?
Whoa, yo.
I'm into it.
YOLO.
I'm totally into it.
I mean, I'm into it too because I do like seeing like things that like even like YOLO and shit like that and like whatever Drake comes up with to add to our
we all agree that Drake should be in charge of English, right?
Exactly.
Oh, Drake, a great
Oh my gosh, we need to do this is a coffee table book, Drake's dictionary. The dictionary according to Drake.
Let's move on to round 5. Final facts.
Final
facts 5. Streeter, get us started.
Okay, this is a fact courtesy of Ricky Van Veen. He told me this fact, and I think it's great. So, hey guys, you know what's cool?
What, Streeter?
What, Streeter?
TGI Fridays, the restaurant,
Yeah.
started in New York City in the 60s. And originally, it was like the hottest bar in New York. And it was the first singles bar. And the guy who created it was this 20-something. And what he said was, he's like, I want to meet girls. But back in those days, girls didn't go to bars. Like, girls would go to cocktail parties, or you would take them on a formal date. And he was like, there was nowhere where groups of girls, single girls in their 20s, would go out and you could just talk to them. So he made this bar, TGI Fridays, and it quickly became like the hottest club. Like, and they created the velvet rope to like wait for people to come in because it was that popular.
They created the velvet rope?
I believe they did. I think I read that on Wikipedia. But isn't that so weird? That like,
Yeah.
Wait. Are you
'Cause
implying
now-
that TGI Fridays is no longer the coolest hot spot in New York? Because that is where I'm going when we're done recording this.
and he started opening like other locations, and they were like singles bar themed for a long time. And then like as it got as like competitors opened and like women just started going to bars, they like turned it into a family restaurant.
Women love reasonably priced mozzarella sticks. I've been saying that for years.
Can you imagine a world where people in New York, like the coolest people in New York, are like desperately trying to get into TGI Fridays?
That is amazing.
Just the fact that it started in Manhattan is weird enough. Because I like when they opened one in Union Square where we used to work, I was like, look at this garbage. Like, there's all these great local restaurants that are bringing this chain bullshit, but it's from here.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
That is really interesting. I like that one a lot. I like chain restaurants a lot, so I like that fact.
Yeah.
I believe that guy sold the company, right? Like he didn't oversee the slide into what it's become now.
Yeah.
And I say slide, I'm sure they're making like billions of dollars. Like I'm sure they've multiplied the business 8 billion-fold.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that guy sold it to someone else.
I spent a lot of time one day looking up different chain restaurants on Wikipedia, and they're like full of interesting facts. It's
Really?
Go with like Bennigan's and Applebee's, like all of them. They're really fun to read about.
I actually read a really interesting fact about the guy who created Victoria's Secret. The guy who created
that's so
Victoria's
sad.
Secret.
Yeah.
I think he created it in like 1977 or something like that, and then like in like 97 he threw himself off the Golden Gate Bridge and killed
do you know
himself.
why?
No, I just was like, what? Why'd you kill yourself?
Here's
You
what
you look at boobs every day.
He like created it. I think he was like his wife was like, I wish there was a place I could buy like lingerie that wasn't like a sex shop, you know? So he made like this like
all for his wife.
this kind of
Was her name Victoria?
I think it was.
Wow.
I think it was. I'm not sure. But anyway, he like sold the business after a few years for like $2 million or like, you know, a good amount of money. But then it went on to make like hundreds and millions and like billions of dollars. And he got really depressed. Because I read an article about that.
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
You
but
shouldn't be
where does
depressed.
that
It was-
doesn't
you know what?
follow. He made hundreds of billions of dollars and then he got depressed.
No.
No, he didn't. He had gotten out of the company.
Oh, okay.
So the article was about it was about when Facebook was like IPOing, and it talked about people who like left Facebook before they had enough like shares and shit. Like that kid who turned down like a bunch of money would be worth like billions now.
Yeah.
Ugh, terrifying. I hope that never happens to me because I will kill myself.
Yeah.
Fact.
That's the most interesting fact of the day.
That's true.
And you shop at Victoria's Secret, so you are at risk.
I went into Victoria's Secret numerous times, and let me tell you something. It is uncomfortable.
It's kind
really
of
uncomfortable.
It's kind of trashy a little bit, the lingerie.
I go to the one in the Atlantic Terminal.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
And that one is, hey man, put your phone on vibrate.
That was the timer.
Oh, you changed it from the quack?
I didn't mean to. I also paused it, and we've been talking for longer than 3
Oh,
minutes.
sorry.
We're talking about negligee. I mean,
Yeah,
we can
man.
go on forever.
We're talking about intimate nightwear.
No, I shop at Fredericks of Hollywood. All
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
So let's move on to my last fact, which you better believe is not about negligee. It is, well, let me get the stopwatch open. And just so you guys know, I keep a notepad file on my phone of what I think are unfun facts, just like kind of fun facts, but they're really depressing is the theme.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, perfect, let's just pull those up. They're all too depressing, but I wanted to pull one for this. So, hey, guys, you know what's cool?
What, Jeff?
Roald Dahl, noted children's author Roald Dahl.
I know this.
He is he wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the BFG and the Witches, and was apparently something of a bigot.
Oh.
And what were you going to say?
No, I heard that he hated the movie of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, that's interesting too.
Which
Mine is
one?
that he hated Jews.
Oh, wow.
He referred
Big friendly giant.
He referred to them as those powerful American Jewish bankers and charged that the United States government was, quote, utterly dominated by the great Jewish financial institutions over there.
Hey, whoa, but isn't he right?
I mean,
You know, when you think about it,
it's hard to
it's really hard to
argue.
He also said, there is a trait in the Jewish character that does provoke animosity. Maybe it's a kind of lack of generosity towards non-Jews. I mean, there is always a reason why anything crops up anywhere. Even a stinker like Hitler didn't just pick on them for no reason.
Hey,
Well, he called
like Hitler.
At least he called Hitler a
He
stinker.
busted out a pretty big insult for the
Yeah.
worst criminal of the 20th century.
Didn't he also call him a crud muffin and
I think that one...
dingus?
a ding?
That's one that sticks in my mind because Roald Dahl was
real
like my
boner.
favorite growing up. I loved Roald Dahl and Roald Dahl books, as I think a lot of kids do. But then when I read that, I was like, yeah, I guess a lot of those pictures did have a lot of hook noses in them.
Well, BFG, Big Friendly Giant, didn't he have like a big hook nose?
I think they all had hook noses.
The Witches definitely
What
did.
is a hook nose?
It's like in...
Do
It's
I
like
have a
kind of
hook
like a
nose?
beaky nose.
Oh.
I'm referring
so
only
that's
to
a Roman
illustrations.
nose, right?
Yes, a Roman nose. Yeah, like fruit cheese.
Yeah. I feel like I have kind of a Roman nose.
No, no.
There's a little bump here.
The other one in my file that is a racist, I don't have a file of racist, they're both in the Unfun Facts file, is Dewey, who created the Dewey Decimal System, was apparently really not into anyone but white people. But I couldn't find, I found a lot of things mentioning that, but I couldn't find like something he actually had said about it. So I didn't want to like bring it up. But I'm doing it anyway.
All the quotes that you found were just like, there weren't any actual quotes. It was just like him going like, ugh. Anytime someone mentioned a non-white.
This is the problem with like knowledge, is that everyone's like a shithead for one reason or another.
I know.
Like you, me, even Jeff. Everyone's like kind of a piece of shit. And like, so like you really can't like anyone totally.
Yeah.
Also, like,
I mean, being an anti-Semite's like, more of a piece of shit than I think I am, or so, you know. But like, but it's always so depressing. Like everything you like, you're like, well, actually, you know, that guy was accused of groping women. You're like, oh man, come on.
It's always like whoever like changed history and like shaped the world was a piece of shit. Like it's always like even like I saw like that Bob Marley documentary, and I was like, oh my gosh, what an amazing, compelling political figure. Like you know, thank the heavens that he existed. He was a terrible father and a terrible like husband and like.
Here's my question though, and I'm out of time, but I think this is a really interesting question, so I'm gonna bend the rules just a little bit here.
That's Streeter, you're bending the rules on your turn.
Streeter giving me a very skeptical look. But do you think does that influence your enjoyment of their work? Like, I still think Roald Dahl is a great author, and like, I'd still tell a kid to read a Roald Dahl book.
I think when I was younger and more idealistic, it would sort of break my heart. But at this point, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah,
like everyone who changed the world kind of sucked in their personal life.
With anything with like, especially with something with like creative output, I feel like you kind of have to judge it just on it, like your enjoyment of it, you know?
Yeah. You have to separate the art from the artist.
Unless there's an agenda there, you know what I mean? If like Roald Dahl's books were like, you know, if he was trying to get you to hate Jews, that's like one thing, you know? But I don't think those books were like anti-Semitic.
Okay, I'm over time. It's my last act. I just had to get it in. Emily, final fact of the day.
Oh, I'm deciding between two. Do you guys want drugs or robots?
Wow.
I want drugs.
When you said drugs, I was like, drugs. But then you said, robots, and it's a tough decision.
The two complement themselves. If I had some drugs, I'd probably want to hear about robots more.
Let's go drugs.
Okay.
I like drugs.
All right. Okay. Hey, you know what's cool?
What, Emily?
Okay, so have you guys heard of DMT?
Kind of.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of it.
That's like new, right?
Well, it's actually a natural psychedelic. It's the psychedelic that's in like ayahuasca and stuff like that, but it's also in our brains.
I thought ayahuasca was just a thing from Wanderlust. I did not know that was real.
No,
yeah,
ayahuasca
maybe that's
is a
why
plant.
I think it's new, because it's like people are like doing it now.
I know. Well, people do. Well, I mean, like people who are into psychedelics have always been doing it. But basically, I think the most exciting part is that it's actually something that our brain produces. So we are at all times. They think it comes from our pineal gland, but they don't know, producing DMT, which is a psychedelic substance, but it's in small enough amounts that we're not constantly tripping. But they think that because they don't really know.
Maybe we are.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually, this is a side note, but like one of like the end of the world like hypotheses is that like just some crazy end of the world hypothesis is that we're going to start producing more DMT and then we'll all just start tripping.
Awesome. What a great way to go out.
Great way to go. But basically they think that because like they think that things like alien abduction, like people who think that they've been abducted by aliens and people who have had near-death experiences, they think it's because of this DMT that's in our brain.
Can I piggyback off your fact?
Piggyback off it.
Every drug that affects humans in any way, that has an effect on you, your body makes anyway. Anything. Because you need neural receptors for that drug to attach onto. So like heroin,
so even
which is like an opiate, right? So like the base chemical of opium, your body makes that by itself. That's why it works on you. Like if you just ate,
really?
If you took a piece of lettuce and ate it, you wouldn't trip. But like for some animal that may be an intoxicant, and they have that, in their brain. They have like receptors that reacts with.
But they have receptors, but do they have because like the DMT is in our brain, so essentially like if we could find a way to encourage our brain to produce it, fine, then we could just make ourselves trip.
So you can do that
way.
with like any drug,
Really?
Like the way ecstasy works is just like a serotonin bombardment, right? It just it tells your body to like pound you with serotonin. That's just your brain like doing that, you know what I mean? Like you make serotonin in your body.
Because it is possible to feel good without drugs.
Right, exactly. So that's like the chemical for that. So like we make all of our drugs.
Okay, but still, what if
we all just start
tripping from the DMT in our brains?
That's the core fact here. Is that when you said they're studying it and they think it comes from, I forgot what you said, a certain part of your brain.
The pineal gland.
Is that like scientists with lab coats, or is there just like a commune somewhere where someone's like, oh man?
Yeah, it's pretty much people meditating and trying to feel inside their own brain. No. It's they're studying it like in labs and things like that.
Bodies are insane.
They use DMT. I want to be part of one of these drug tests so bad.
Why don't you just sign up for one?
Because how do you find them?
I feel like that's them now.
Emily Axford, we're ready.
There's got to be some message board for like recreational drug users where they just shared like trial somewhere.
But that would be amazing. Yeah, they like study the effects of it and everything like that.
That's pretty fun.
I
guess
ready.
I'd sign up for. I don't want to be tripping for like a month.
No, you only trip for like, it's just basically you go in for like one dose and then they like see how it affects you. And everyone who does DMT has encounters with aliens. That's what they always say.
Really?
They're always like, that's like the most common thing is like encounters with an alien realm. And they describe them relating to my other thing. They describe them as insectoid or reptilian aliens.
Have you heard like the lizard people theory?
No, I don't. I'm not that familiar with it.
It's like a conspiracy theory that like lizard people coexist with us, but they've like masked themselves to look like humans, and they're like Masons and like all this crazy shit.
It makes a lot of sense that Mitt Romney would be a lizard. I think if anyone's a lizard, it's Mitt Romney, right? I'm not saying
don't bring your politics into this, Jeff.
I know. We're just trying to daydream about lizard people.
He just seems
Roald Dahl left his politics out of his book.
I'm just saying he seems like one of the most lizard-like politicians.
Yeah, he does.
If you want to go take DMT, I have some right now.
In your brain, I know.
In my brain that I can release whenever I feel like it.
Just squirt it out of your ear.
It's so, that's like, all that stuff about like your, the potential of your body is really interesting. Like, I remember reading in my favorite book, which like half my facts came from, this Bill Bryson book. Yeah. He talks about how...
That book is A Short History of Nearly Everything.
Yeah, Short History of Nearly Everything.
You recommend reading that. I love that book. It's so good.
It's incredible. It's full of like the greatest facts of all time. Just like every page is like an awesome fact.
It's not just about like facts and what we know, but there's a lot of like how we know it. So it's like not only how much, it's not just like the Earth weighs 13 tons.
Right.
The Earth weighs
it's like the story
tons.
of like the crazy British guy who went out and figured that out and then like lost his mind and stuff. So it's
really good.
It's a great
book.
read.
Yeah.
In that book, he talks about he's like in your little finger, you have enough energy to end the world. Like there's enough power in there of like 1 billion hydrogen bombs just because of how many atoms are in your finger. You know what I mean?
Oh, hell
so he's like,
yeah.
Everything's just full of this like energy that if we knew how to unlock it, we could just destroy the universe.
It sounds like you maybe actually got into some of that DMT you were talking about.
I think Bill Bryson took a bunch and wrote that book.
Yeah. I love that shit.
All I'm saying is if Mitt Romney like reached under his neck and pulled off a mask,
and I'm the one who got to the DMT.
You wouldn't be stunned. Like you'd be surprised, but you'd be like, oh, you could reconcile.
It would be like Inauguration Day in a terrible world where he got elected. And
so we've gone way over on the final fact.
Okay.
But that's because it's the final fact.
Good fact.
Guys,
Okay.
we've been talking for about an hour now.
Wow.
Any favorite facts? They're all so good.
I really think New Sweden is...
I mean, New Sweden was the crowd favorite.
Please, like and comment. Just show some support for New Sweden.
14-way tie, except for the New Sweden thing.
So I lost.
I'm trying to think.
What if we say each other, which of each other's facts we like the most?
Okay.
So like I'll say from Emily, I wasn't listening.
Right.
From
As you
Emily,
should
I
happen.
think I liked the one about the smart dinosaur.
Yeah,
that was a pretty
I
good
think I
one.
like that one the most. And then I think from you, Jeff, even though I already knew it because you told me this story a while ago, I think I like the Snuffy.
Yeah, Code Snuffy.
Yeah.
Code Snuffy's like one of
Glad I
those.
finally have put that out there into the world.
Yeah, that's some good knowledge.
I like. What was your last fact, Streeter? I feel like I was real into your last fact.
TGI Fridays.
TGI Fridays is probably my favorite Streeter fact.
Yeah.
Emily, there's the dinosaurs, DMT. What are the other options? I like the dinosaurs.
Two dino ones, scavengers.
Two dinos. DMT, the language
Dead
one, which we
language.
would not
language.
talk about.
Yeah, okay.
That was
dead
your
language.
new Sweden.
That was my new Sweden.
I'm gonna go with the. I'm gonna go with the same one Streeter did. Intelligent Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Then I liked Intelligent Dinosaur a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm actually going to go for TGI Fridays for Streeter and Snuffy, or I kind of liked the Wikipedia one.
That was fun too.
So I think it's a tie between Emily and I then for winner because two of our facts both got 2 votes. So Jeff lost.
Not to
Important
mention, we nailed the intro every single time, and you fumbled it. What? Streeter?
Wormily.
Wait, what? Emily?
When the episode is up, I will be vindicated. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. Should we plug anything? Maybe let's just plug Twitter. You guys want to plug Twitter?
Oh yeah, sure.
Twitter.com.
Really great website.
Yeah. You can go there to express small, concise thoughts.
Emily and Streeter, thank you so much for doing this. It was so fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. One more round of applause for my wonderful guests, Streeter Seidell and Emily Axford. You can find them on Twitter at Street Seidell and at @eAxford. I know that recently I sort of made a proclamation that I was going to start taking the first week of any month off from Jeff Rubin shows. I am going to make an exception. Next Tuesday, there will be a new episode of the Jeff Rubin Show, and my guest will be Paul Scheer. Paul is, of course, from Human Giant. He is on The League from NTSF's DSUV, which is coming back on Adult Swim soon. And he has this incredible podcast called How Did This Get Made, where him and Jason Mantzoukas and June Diane Raphael, and they have guests and they watch bad movies, and it's wonderful. And you guys got to check it out. It's your homework for next week because when Paul is on this show, we are going to be talking about bad movies and talking a lot about that podcast and how he watches bad movies and chooses bad movies. So that is coming out on Tuesday, despite the fact it will be the first Tuesday of August. Confusing, I know. I will remind you, if you follow me on Twitter, where I am at Jeff Rubin Show, on Tumblr at jeffrubin.com, on youtube.com/jeffrubin, or on my Facebook fan page. Next week, Paul Scheer. Gonna be a good one. Be there. Oh, and thank you to Eric Scroggin for recording the intro to this week's Enhanced Edition. If you would like to hear yourself explaining exactly what the hell the Enhanced Edition is, you know the shtick by now. Explain it, record yourself. Don't worry about the sound. I'll put that in. Send it to Jeff Rubin at jeffrubinshow.com, and I'll use it in an upcoming episode. Pretty good, right? Okay, bye for real.